The entire crypto market has truly been shaken with the FTX issue. Now, it's not just something really small. As you look at CZ's recent tweet where he highlights what he tweeted out back in July, it kind of goes through the rabbit hole, connecting like how 3AC occurred, then Voyager, and now the FTX. So, with this, it's really hard to follow as he highlights. But if you read it again slowly, you now kind of get some thought process like, okay, this was just one guy's fault, but right now the world is highlighting that it's kind of the entire crypto space. But one good thing about this particular stuff is this. It's Jim who's saying this, so usually it's the opposite. So that can be great. Then you have a perspective which kind of compares what happened with FTX, the history. But then again, you have people like this highlighting, no, you can't compare that because the reality is like this. And that's also true. So what we have right now is a big thing. Investors like this being shaken and they are saying crypto bottom is in. Now that's the perspective from Kevin, a billionaire investor. And then you look at like an entrepreneur like Mark. And that's like, a huge stuff here. Everyone is saying it's the fault of a crypto. Now he highlights or argues it's not. It's actually an issue with the regulations. The regulators running behind these individuals rather than running against the real thing, the exchanges, right? So we get a lot of these right now happening. And this one, if you are here in any type of market condition, whether it's stocks, whether it's bonds, whether it's crypto, whether it's anything connected to money, you should be following this thought process because there's a lot in similar. Now you can ask like what is in similar, but before that, I would actually like to show you like movement in crypto right now is volatile. Only a few is attracting something. Say Doge is going up. Why is that? Elon actually highlighted that Twitter is going to go for a payment system. So we don't know. It's just a speculation as of now. Okay, it's going to be Dogecoin. Now, most likely it may not be. It will be something really superior to that. But then you see exchange to wallet. People are moving that money from exchange. They don't believe centralized exchange anymore. So they won't put huge amounts into exchanges. They are moving it out. And you see wallets, their tokens and others getting attention. So right now, if you're in the market, it's really important to have the proper perspective, which is the greatest one, because you have a similarity which you haven't seen from a long time. This is super important if you are here in the market right now because this is what you're going to see for next 200 to 60 days. We're going to break that down in an easy manner so you and me is on the same page. This is a scientific investor family where the normal, common retail guys learn how to become the next top 10% of the world. So as we look at this and succeeding in life and money, crypto, everything, I'll suggest we have another channel. It's a new channel. It's just starting. There's a lot of room for improvement. But whatever you guys suggested in the first video, I've tried to accommodate that. So if you haven't watched this new one, do take your time whenever you have and inform what can be done to improve that. Now, jumping right back here. This is what we're observing here right now, right? This particular coin is moving higher. It's really breaking through. It's actually going higher. Why is that? That's actually a wallet token getting that volume. Slowly, it's jumping from, 5, 10, 15 towards 51 million right now. And the bets against it right now is going up. So what I'm looking at is like, okay, if that means you can have a lot of stop loss to hit, exchanges are going to make money. They're going to make liquidity by kicking them out. That's a huge possibility. Now, being a technical guy, we are looking at possibilities, probabilities, right? You have one, which is this. It's a short-term probability if you're in the market. This is your ROI, 40% from the break. You broke here and right now you are half of that. Great. But then if you're like, okay, I have more time in this market, I'm patient enough, then you can actually look like, okay, this is a huge probability which is evolving here. This can be a big rounded bottom pattern if you actually move on to a macro structure. So on a macro structure, this is just starting. So if you are here in this market, understand there are some things which is happening positive due to FTX when the entire market is down. You're seeing a breakout from something like this where you have a lot of ROI to be made. Now, understand, if your target move is 200%, move out by 170 or take your profits out or skim your profits and be sure you are in the market at the right time. Because as we've been talking about this, say this October, we were highlighting, okay, there is a possibility that this can evolve, and it slowly evolved. It was kind of breaking through, and that followed up here, right? And as we move through this, we do have to understand that breakout right now has a reason. Yes, we talked here about there is a possibility it can break higher and retest. Then we followed up with saying, okay, right now it's breaking higher. And earlier today in the morning when the price was like 1.2, we talked about this. Guys, watch this one. The retest is completed. So we are here looking at opportunities, and the market does give us some kind of idea. When majority of our portfolio is being drained and slowed down and kicked down by the FTX issue, if you are here right now, you should also be looking at, okay, what are the coins which has been completely impacted by FTX, where you see them dropping like this. Solana is below $15 right now. People are arguing that it's going to go all the way back to $50. I'm not sure how that will work, because if you go into the market right now to look at the market impact, this is what we are looking at. You have seen this evolve in a lot of different assets, including sell shares. You name those big assets which actually dropped hard. You will actually now, that's pattern. You are looking at this and saying like, okay, there is a huge possibility. This was a rounded top. If you remember, we had that call here. And yeah, we were kind of early. November, that was a little bit too early. But if you were here in the market and you were exiting at that level, you're not complaining here, right? So if you are in these kind of assets, which is like breaking through, retesting and getting rejected hard, that's a bad story which is developing, right? Now for this one, the story can change with the fundamentals. If new investors are coming in, acquiring the company and changing the direction, we'll have to see how that moves. But right now, if you are here in the market, you are also looking at what can potentially happen, because you do know a lot of investors, big guys, were high on Ether, were high on Solana, right? You know them when they are speaking about Solana, Luna, FTX. Now, I'm like, some of them are making all the efforts to make real entries into projects like this, Solana, Luna, FTX. And I'm like, how can you do that all together? That's the hard part, right? And we who are in the blue chip real great coins, XRP, XLM, HBAR, we see them also getting hit hard, and we are really confused what the market is doing, right? But right now, it's just retesting. You got a hard bounce from here before you can go higher. You need to make sure this is the bottom. So the market is going to come down here, test this range, and if that holds, it's going to bounce back up, which will be a great sign for the entire market. Then you're looking for Bitcoin, which is like one of the biggest asset inside this asset class. Here in the price, yes, you are near this one. Here in the RSI, yes, you're holding. But the MACD kind of suggests, no, there is something more to come. So there is a huge possibility you can drop here, test this 15, or have a wick lower and come back in. That's still a huge possibility, which may not be really good, because if you are in exchanges where the liquidity is low for a lot of different small assets, they may drop the price huge and then push it back up. They will make profits, for sure. They are not charity, right? What we want to see on the opposite side of this is going back up, which is great thing to watch, because we do have to go through this moving average. And if we manage to do that, it's actually a great thing, because as you move on, step back in towards a macro scenario, like, okay, we really want to get a weekly close, which is just coming soon in a couple of days, about this territory. So if we manage to actually close the weekly above 1,300, it's like, okay, some bias is still there thinking that the market is going to go back up. And it's people like Kevin. Like, there are individuals who really believe like, okay, one of the biggest events has been done. It's here. Like it can be the biggest moment. And at the same time, we also have to ask ourselves, is there any big guys who are going to go bankrupt? Now, for sure, there will be a lot of small guys who had a lot of money in FTX. The exposure was or overexposed to FTX or their assets. That can really hurt the economy. Because on the other side of this is something which I'm talking about from some time. But right now, if you are looking at this, you should be clearly understanding that the momentum you observe here in the drop of dollar, this volume or momentum has not been seen anywhere close to this. So you are slowly going back in time to see if we had this level of drop, and you'll have to literally go all the way back. Now this is concerning. All the way back to here to observe something like that being repeated. Now that means the market is dropping for dollar. Agreed. But at the same time, what's the positive note? It was like 266 days to the bottom for dollar. Whereas the normal times when it actually drops, it's 329 days. And the next time when it dropped, I think it was like 450. Yeah, close to 400 days. Great. So if this is going to be a short and huge drop because the volatility is going to be hard and the time consumed is going to be lower, what we have to ask ourselves is like, is there any place in this world where we repeat the history? And I think it's better to say we are not smarter than the history. Great. So if dollar is going to drop like this 400 days, if dollar is going to drop like this 300 days, or thus in history, possibilities are we may go back up in crypto. Because all these times when dollar is dropping, we observe that the crypto market is going back up. Just we need to actually get the final leg down as this one. If you break this range, you can have a little bit of bounce. You already dropped this hard, so there should be a retest. And retesting 21-day moving average won't be a bad thing too. But if you retest this and get rejected, that's the key part. Get rejected. You are breaking this one here. And as that breaks, maybe I'm wrong, crypto will have its room to the upside. It's really hard to go back there and say the entire stocks and others do have a possibility to break higher if dollar goes up, right? You go look at assets like Netflix, the bottom was like 160 and right now you're close to 300. You even touched about 300. So that's like, if you knew what was happening back then, you are already kind of 100% just in the stock market. So that's actually something huge for you to consider. So that being said, coming back into the crypto market, we are just looking at the entire market, asking that questions, which of these assets were hit hard? You see Solana, you see Ape, Huobi token, Helium, SNX, CRV, but this is 60% and this is 40. And as you go down, the impact on these coins are lesser and lesser. By the time you come to see XRP, it's 25. It's less than half of it. And you do see a lot of assets inside that category. So that is something you need to consider right now. Because if you are in the market, you need to be assured that this asset can go back up. Now, I don't know how many of you really look at this and say like, okay, I think this is possible, right? When we say this, a lot of people come at us saying, no, that's not going to happen. Because when we were shown this target for this pattern, the price was somewhere here. And a lot of people thought it's going to bounce back up. But what evolved in the market is like you get hit hard. We experienced this with strong block. The measured move from that 1,250 drop was like $100. We entered somewhere close to 150. Then what happened? The price went to $1. That's what happens when the confidence of the market drops and there is someone who is pulling that rug. That really hurts investors, right? So we are now waiting to see how the market evolves and where the money is going to come from. So right now, yes, things are not looking that bright. You're literally looking for a drop here and retest. But as we just talked about the dollar scenario evolving and the gold and silver going back up, this is actually a good news. Because when this is happening, clearly it's breaking through this level where it went to the downside. So for gold, if you remember what we talked last time, this can be that spring event of your reaccumulation range. So you go back here, that's like 2000, and that's just the starting of the next markup phase. So yes, this market is going to go higher. But then the major question is how long it will take to restore the consumer confidence. All of us consumed a lot of products from this market, but luckily some of us did not even touch this, or we were sure that there is something like this coming and you moved out of this asset. But we really didn't know how long this network goes and how much different assets they've been investing into, right? So the impact of FTX is still there in the market for sure, and it's going to take some time for people to think before they re-enter into the market. If you lost everything in FTX, most likely a lot of new guys are never coming back into the crypto market because they just got scared. Only a few who had assets in other exchanges, they survived. Like us, we did not enter FTX. That was something great to think. Now, yes, we do have to see how this week closes, but you need patience. And that's why you need to be learning on a regular basis, and updating yourself with the current belief of the market is super important. So guys, if you received value for your time, please do hit that like and subscribe button. And if you have time, go watch this one too. I'll meet you guys on the next video. Bye-bye.